Millionaires, and just rich people. How did you earn your money? Can you give any advice to the younger generation? I live in Eastern Europe. In 1990, I took out a huge loan, bought 10 apartments with it, and filled them with furniture. I rented them out to people, and spent all the money I made on paying off the debt. I repeat this process every 10 years. Now I have 30 apartments and one employee who looks after the apartments and keeps track of the accounts. The key to success is finding good tenants and having a good relationship with them. Yes, but who will give you such a large sum if you have nothing? I'm sure your plan works when you already have apartments, but how to get your first money? You can find yourself a guarantor and start with 2 or 3 apartments. Once the apartments are yours, you can mortgage them for new loans, without a guarantor. In fact, it all depends on the country you live in. One more piece of advice. If someone suddenly wants to do something similar, do not do anything extravagant in the apartments. Do not buy luxury apartments. The more money you invest, the longer it will take to recoup it. Plus, you can always get into expensive repairs if you get a bad tenant. At the age of 20, I got a job as a programmer. This was at the time when the internet was rapidly gaining momentum. I made websites and databases for them. At that time, the internet was still a novelty, and all the software was pretty primitive. I never created my own Razerok and Adatop, but I still made good money on my programming skills. From the very beginning, I spent all the money I earned on buying houses, and eventually it got to the point where I bought an apartment building on the California coast. I'm in my 40s now. I don't consider myself very rich. I constantly look at prices when I shop. I plan to drive my old Jeep until it finally dies. However, when I travel, I like to stay in good hotels and fly mostly business class, but overall, I live quite modestly. I have a similar story. We started working in the 90s during the dot-com era, when our company started selling shares. It turned out that my share was worth tens of millions. I was not even 30 then. Luckily, I managed to withdraw the money before the market collapsed. Useful reading. Continues to spend 97% of free time on the internet and $100 a month on fast food and video games. To be honest, there is nothing wrong with that. I work, study at the university, and in my free time I hang out at home and play video games. I am not a millionaire, not rich. I do not have big ambitions and goals, but I am so happy with my life. Don't marry girls who can't control their spending. Usually, wedding expenses are a good indicator of how well or poorly a girl has self-control. You will never get rich if your wife spends money as fast as you earn it. At 18, I joined the army. I liked it. I decided to become an officer. I was sent to study at a university, which I eventually graduated from. My officer's salary was quite impressive. Plus, officers don't have many bills to pay. Every month, I put aside $1,000 to $5,000. This way, I managed to save about $200,000. Then I hired a financial manager. For several years, he managed my money well. Then I bought and rented out a couple of houses. It's been 17 years since I joined the army. My current net worth is approaching $2 million. Plus, I have a good pension coming my way. I'm about to become a lieutenant colonel. Just work and save. By the way, I must say that I'm not wildly excited about my job right now, but the good pay is motivating me to stay here for a few more years. I was constantly saving, putting aside 40% of my salary, and investing money in stocks. I recouped my investment a long time ago. How do you know which companies are best to invest in? I've been doing this since I was 18. I have an economics background and a keen interest in different markets, but to be honest, it's impossible to know anything for sure. I have a diversified portfolio with shares of 10 companies from different areas. In theory, this is not enough, but I don't really care. All of these companies are among the top most popular companies in my country. I live in Denmark. All of these companies are under the OMXC20 index. Over time, these stocks grow. Some of my stocks are always red, some are black, some fall by 30%, others grow by 40%. But if you look at the years, then every year my portfolio grows by about 7%. This includes the crisis years. It seems to me that the worst thing you can do with your money is not invest it anywhere. I was extremely frugal. I didn't buy cars. I didn't care what people thought of me. I saved and invested. Saved and invested. I never made hasty investments. I always invested for the long term and never worried about market corrections. It took me a long time to do everything. but it was fun, as they say. The stock market is a tool for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. Won a lot of money at the casino. Not enough to quit my job and buy a mansion, but I live comfortably enough, and my son will be fine too. We are not millionaires yet, but we are getting there. My wife and I have degrees in science and engineering. I still cook my own lunches and drink from free fountains. I go out to restaurants with coworkers at best once a month. I always carry a bottle with me and regularly fill it up in our cafeteria with free ice and water. I am now in my early 30s. We have a house for $500,000, bought 2 years ago, paid off about 40%. I hope to be able to pay off the rest soon. In addition, I have about $350,000 in liquidity in stocks. I drive a 9-year-old Scion. My wife has a 13-year-old Camry. Our daughter's clothes are stolen from second-hand stores. We do not have television. We shop at cheap stores. We constantly monitor discounts. But that doesn't mean we don't enjoy life. We've been to Europe, Dubai, the Bahamas, Bermuda, Puerto Rico, Vegas a bunch of times, Canada a bunch of times. We're heading to California in a month. My philosophy is this: if there's something you don't like about life, treat it like a poor person. For example, we love to travel. That's why we spend money on it. I love taking pictures. That's why I have an expensive camera. My wife loves to paint her nails. We have a whole drawer of nail polish. But I don't care about food, so I don't go out to restaurants and cook at home. Same thing with cars. Live simply, invest and spend money wisely, and love unconditionally. How do I know if I'm a millionaire or not? In assets? If so, I have $1 million in real estate, but very little cash. I've always been very frugal and saved more than anyone I know. I bought a property when I was 23, which has since appreciated quite a bit, but I have a loan that I can barely pay off, so I feel like I'm fucking poor. I made my first $1 million when I was 33. The next ones were easier to earn. The best advice is to start building your capital as early as possible. I used to live like a miser, saving every penny. I bought my first car only at 30, and it was a huge one. I never spent money on holidays or bought things that I didn't 100% need. I always perceived holidays as regular weekends. Usually, I either walked on the beach or did some other free entertainment. When I saved my first $10,000, I took out a mortgage and invested all my spare money into paying it off. Every time I got a raise at work, I spent it on a loan, and not on improving my quality of life. I'm 45 now and saving is no longer a priority for me because I already have a base equity. I can spend every penny I earn and my base equity will grow. Bottom line, your clothes and cars don't define you. Start saving as early as possible. Thanks for watching. If there are millionaires and just rich people among our viewers, you can write in the comments how you made your money. And don't forget to watch our other videos.